Hello guys, it's the EV Bloke here, back with another video. I'm just up at my local charger, and I just wanted to give a little bit of a video, a little bit about the charging kind of behaviour in the winter. I mean, today's not the coldest day, 7 degrees, but what I'm noticing is with this car, and you've probably seen it yourself if you've got an Atto 3, when you plug it into a fast charger when the weather's cold, what I can only assume is the heat pump. It says intelligent heat heat thing or whatever inside the comes up along the bottom there, and I'm just assuming that's a heat pump as such, really. But what I can't get my head round is why doesn't that come on when the engine's cold? In other words, when you start the car up and you're just about to set off or whatever, those kind of almost like a preconditioning, really. It should be sort of like the heat pump should be kicking into action to get that temperature up, but I don't think it actually does that, because I've driven this car around a bit this morning, came to charge up here, as I say, 7 degrees, not the coldest you ever did see, and compared to the few weeks we've had where it's been really freezing down near zero all the time, or below zero even. But what I can't figure out is why that doesn't come on, you know, when you're on startup, really. So it takes you to plug it in, and it's good that it comes on when you plug it in, because if it didn't, you'd be sitting there forever. But because basically what it does is I plugged in at 17%, okay, so up until about 30%, this heating's going on inside the battery there. It starts to ramp down a little bit, and then more and more power seems to come from the charger to, so you're essentially, you're never getting really full speeds until, I mean, it's now cut off the intelligent heating system in the battery pack, but I'm on 53%. So I had an hour and 6 minutes to do a full charge from 17% to 100 if I wanted to do it to 100, yeah. Which you can do on this car, you know. To 100% is, you should be actually doing, even, I've said this before in other videos, at least once a week you need to be doing that, even if you home charge. So if you home charge and you normally regularly charge to 80%, you must once a week on this Atto 3 set it to 100 on your home charger and get the full charge out of it, because it's how it calibrates the battery, okay, and how it protects. It's almost like a protection system for the battery, actually. So on Atto 3s, or on blade batteries, basically on BYD cars, that's how they essentially work. So you constantly want to have the power, you constantly want so you constantly want to be doing that. Even if you charge it 2, maybe 3 times a week to 100%, it still shouldn't be a problem overall for the longevity of the battery. That's what I've been told with the BYD blade battery. And there are some reasons as to why blade batteries don't charge at higher speeds to others, because there's a bit of a protection there against fast charging, because you charge to 100%, I guess, and that kind of a thing. Although in China there's going to be some videos coming out quite soon on a channel I watch quite a lot, and he's looking at how blade batteries are actually over in China with some other cars are charging at really high rates of power. So there is a way of it, so it's cars are doing it, so that could come in. But anyway, getting back to the point here, what I'm trying to make is these are the little things which can be quite annoying, really, because if the car heat pump or whatever, it said it's fitted with a heat pump, yeah, so the heat pump that's on the car, you would think it's working, even though nothing shows up on the screen as it's working. You would think in the background it's working. But because I drove around a fair bit this morning and came in and got such a low, I was getting 42 kilowatts for quite a while, which is half what it can actually receive, yeah. I'm now getting the full, which I started to get the full at around about 50%. So it's taken me from 17% to 50% to start even receiving a full charge on this. This is already a slow charging car, because it only charges up to 89 kilowatts. The new Renault 5, which I saw a video on yesterday, coolest car, by the way. I want to get my hands on one of those. It's a lovely car. to look at anyway. You know how practical it is for a family. Of course, it's not. It's a little city car, but still, ever so great design on it. But that charges at 100 kilowatts. A little car like that. So everything around the battery side, even though we hear what a great battery the Blade battery is and everything, it's still doing a lot of things quite bad if you think about it, really, you know, in terms of things like that. There's most cars out there now have heat pumps, and most will be charging up the car from when you start up to get the battery temperature up, because with an electric car with a battery, the ideal thing to do for efficiency, for even safety to the battery, by the way, even longevity to the battery, is to keep it an even temperature. Dramatic swings in temperature, that doesn't do the battery any good, you know, far from it. So by keeping the car at a set temperature, so you do that with thermal management within the battery pack, so you're just keeping it within those sort of maybe 4 or 5 degrees, you know, up or down, really. And of course, a lot of cars will precondition to the chargers. Of course, Tesla being an example of that. So you go into a charger, it'll automatically start warming the battery up to get it to that optimum temperature. So when you plug in, you get the full power, you know. So these are the little things. I mean, this is already a low, like I say, you know my thoughts on the battery pack in here in terms of the overall speeds of it, you know. And the other thing I just wanted to go into a little bit is, we're paying 20% VAT here in the UK. Kind of why? Why are we doing that? Why is the government even encouraging that? When 43% of the people in the UK cannot have access to a home charger, me being one of them. So one, you've got the council that needs to do an awful lot of work over the next few years to get these they need to get these home charge solutions in place, so that people that can actually, you know, I mean, by 2030 there's not supposed to be any petrol or diesel cars for sale. Okay, that might not happen, but as it stands at the moment, that's basically what it is, right? So if that actually comes in, that means that any brand new cars from 2030 are going to be electric or hybrid, and probably most will go, a lot still will be hybrid, I guess, but there's still going to be an awful lot more electric cars on the road. So for that 43% that don't have access, 43% of a national percentage is a lot. So it's quite a high number, you know. And when you look out there, there is not a lot out there that's practical and usable for people that need to have long charging on a slow charger, you know. It's just not out there. You've got supermarkets where you're going to be there 1 or 2 hours, car parks have some slow charging, you're being charged to park there already, so you don't want to be there for hours and hours and hours and hours. There's got to be much more home solutions for people that don't have it, whether it be these fitting the cables under the pavement and then putting a thing over the top of it. I think they're called curbside. That's one company that I think that could do quite well at solutions for that, because then there's no trip hazard on the pathway because it's a flat surface, the cable's underneath, kind of a thing. So that could be one possibility. But all said and done, no matter what way you look at it, that needs to be addressed. But for the meantime, why are, you know, I mean, some people have even said to me, you know, the problem is, you know, people probably not going for electric cars at the moment because they don't have a home charge solution. They're waiting for those solutions to come on board, and I fully get that, take that on board and understand that. And because of myself being the kind of person I am, I was prepared to take the hit on that side of it. I knew I was going to be DC fast charging a lot. I knew that I wasn't going to have access to a home charger, so, you know, and at a time where there wasn't a lot of solutions, so I brought that kind of on myself. But because I'm in that space, it doesn't mean I need to have a quiet voice and just say, oh well. So I'd just like to hear from you guys. If you don't have a home charger, what are your solutions? In maybe even people from other countries than the UK, because I have a lot of overseas viewers on this channel. Let me know what's going on in your country. Is there good solutions coming up for I mean, I have a lot of Chinese subscribers, for example. I mean, China is another country which I'm sure doesn't have a lot of access to home charging with the way the houses are built, flats and all these kinds of apartment sort of blocks and stuff like that. So how are you getting around your charging scenario? But in the meantime, this is where the government needs to have some incentives. If they're not going to give us money off buying brand new cars like they were in the original, not that that was a lot of money, but still in America from several years ago now, they've still do a lot of incentives where you get a lot of money back off of a brand new car. You know, I think it's around about $7,000 or something like that, which is quite sizable. So if you're not going to give any incentives to electric car owners in 2025 from that kind of a way, at least bring down the charging, get it down to the 30s, you know, the sort of 30 to 40 pence per kilowatt is more acceptable, you know. 79 pence a kilowatt here at these chargers, at these GridServe ones. Let me just show you the GridServe charger. Yeah, so as you can see, I don't know if you can pick it up on there, you might not be able to actually, but it actually says 79 pence per kilowatt. Yeah, sorry, it's going a bit out of focus there, too close. So 79 pence a kilowatt, I'm getting 59 kilowatts at 70%, you know. I've put in 34 kilowatts, okay, fine. You know, the point I'm trying to make here is get rid of the VAT. Why are we paying all that VAT on it? People who are doing home charging are not getting that. We're getting slapped. So this is the kinds of things. Sometimes with this country, I think we just take the mickey, really, and you know, the government should be able to subsidise that in some way, you know, to sort of take that off fast charging, really. Even if you're just going on a road trip somewhere. So I'm going from here to Scotland, I probably need to do 4 to 5 charges. So if I'm going to be finding charges at 79 odd pence a kilowatt, that is going to be well over petrol money. Petrol prices, you know. So it's not even, you know, so I just find it weird, really. You know, you're trying to incentivize people to come over to a new technology and a new way of transport through electric cars, but at the same time you're not really doing anything with regards from that point of view. So so yeah, I just wanted to say that. So if you could leave me comments down below on your charging solutions for people in the UK, let's get together. If you don't have a home charger and you're in the United Kingdom right now, please do drop me a line, and maybe we can get enough of a voice that we can start approaching our councils, start approaching the government to put some pressure on these prices, because they're actually ridiculous now. I think so. They don't seem to be coming down. They don't seem to be, you know, I mean, you can argue about a lot of things, price of food and everything else as well is a bit similar, but my issue really with all of this is that 20% VAT at the very least is just, we're just paying way over the top to what we should be. And I mean, the charge suppliers are happy enough, but I mean, but the consumers are not, you know. Maybe charge providers themselves could do more incentives through apps and stuff like that, percentage off. I know GridServe were doing a little thing before Christmas there, where you're getting a little bit off, but I mean, it was nothing major, you know. But you know, do some kind of scheme where you come to their, you know, you become a partner with their charger or whatever, and you have a subscription, and you get a percentage off. So they make a little bit of money, and you also get a bit of relief on the high prices. Because if you start charging a lot in these scenarios, it does work out very expensive, you know, and cost of living is already very, very high here in the UK. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. I think that's the main points I wanted to get out. So the car doesn't seem to precondition before you get to a charger. When you plug it in, then the heat pump comes on, is what I can make out, and starts warming up the battery. But that's too late. You needed that to be happening before that. But if you just get out of your house, drive straight to a charger a mile up the road, and it's cold, well, you're going to expect a cold engine. But if you've been driving around a bit and doing other things, and then you come to the charger and you're thinking 7 degrees and I'm still getting 40 kilowatts, and it needs that battery heater to get it up to the optimal temperature, I think that's a bit bizarre, really. So that's not good. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. A bit of a rant, I guess. I'm always ranting these days, and there's no fear of BYD ever taking me on as one of their the criticisms I have for this car at times, and blah de blah. But I'm just giving a true perspective, a true picture of you know, how this car is. And as I say, on charging, it stinks. It's bad. In 2025, this car is a bad charging car. It's as simple as that. Even when you get the full power out of it from startup, so you plug in, get full power like in the summer, you're still going to be there 45 to 50 minutes at a charger. And it's now an hour and 11 minutes I saw on here to go to 100. I'm not going to stay to 100. I've got other things to get on with. But the point is, I could charge this car to 100% because it has that capability, and you should be doing it periodically. So, but who wants to be at a charger that long? So, okay, cars charge slower from 80%. In actual fact, this one actually doesn't do too bad at 80% because it still continues on at about 34 kilowatts, which actually is still fairly doable, you know, at that state of charge. There's a lot of them drop down to like, you know, 19, 18, and even below that, you know, to really protect that top end of the battery. Depends on the chemistry in the battery, but for these, so that's not even the bad side of it. It's just the whole charging curve is not that great, and also the maximum power it can receive is just not high enough for what is a fairly sizable family car. Anyway, enough of all of that, but please do let me know in the comments what's happening with your charging scenario where you are. So wherever you are around the world, even here in the UK, what facilities and charging have you got round? Drop me some notes. If you want to, maybe I might set up a Discord group or something like that, some group that we can go into, and let's start communicating about all of this and seeing which ways we can approach the government and also our local councils to start making a difference in terms of the top end of our charging, of the VAT we're paying, and also our slow charging options. A lot's being piled into DC fast charging. You know, they're coming up all over the place now, and I think it's probably slightly ahead of demand actually. They're actually doing really, really well on that side. But the slow charging, and it's wrong for the government to just think, it doesn't matter because no one who hasn't got a home charger is going to be buying an electric car. They should be thinking that way. They should be thinking, let's get the solutions going now. You always need to be ahead, yeah? So fine for those new builds and stuff like that that are getting chargers built straight in, which they are now, and that kind of a thing. And even if you've got access to it, that's not an issue. If you're going to get an electric car, you'll pay the price for the charger. If it doesn't come with the car, some can't even come with cars these days. But definitely for the 43% of people, that's the voice I want to have for now. I'm going to start having a voice for these people that they need to have home charge solutions basically within the vicinity where they live. All right, catch you later, guys.